The air was thick with dread as the young farmer stumbled back, breathless, haunted by unseen horrors. He had seen the face of a spirit, and from that night onward the memory clung to him like a curse. Beyond the rugged peaks of Ben Bulben and Cope's Mountain stood a lonely farmhouse where a hard-working family welcomed travelers with warmth and kindness. During one such visit, the farmer's friend arrived at the welcoming farmhouse. The farmer's daughters whispered among themselves while casting uneasy glances toward a young lad sitting alone. Although strong in appearance, the young lad carried fear that everyone could see. Curious, the visitor sat beside him and gently asked why everyone treated him with such contempt. "I was once fearless," the lad whispered. "But 2 years ago everything changed." He described walking home alone beneath a moonless sky. Without warning, the face of his dead brother emerged from the darkness. The horrifying vision shattered every trace of courage within him. He fled through the night and burst into the nearest cottage seeking safety. From that night onward his life was ruled by fear. He refused to walk the haunted road again, even if it meant traveling miles farther. Ashamed, he confessed he would not even escort the prettiest girl in the village home after sunset. The ghost had stolen not his life, but his courage. Yet his story was only one among many whispered across those ancient lands. Nearby stood the ancient fairy rath of Cashel Nowhere, where treasures of the otherworld were said to sleep beneath the earth. One desperate man became consumed by greed and secretly began digging into the sacred mound. He believed unimaginable riches waited beneath the ancient hill. A passing friend discovered the treasure hunter clawing through the sacred earth. Nearby, an old peasant watched the scene with growing concern. "Leave it alone," the old man warned. "Some treasures belong to the fairies." The treasure hunter only laughed and drove his shovel deeper into the earth. Blinded by dreams of wealth, he ignored every warning. Then, without warning, the wind stopped completely. The silence became so heavy that no bird dared to sing. The ground beneath the ancient rath began to tremble. A dark crack spread across the sacred hill as if the earth itself had awakened. The greedy man stumbled backward, finally realizing he had gone too far. The earth opened beneath his feet and swallowed him into a bottomless darkness. His desperate screams echoed for only a moment before complete silence returned to Cashel Nowhere. The ancient rath stood untouched once more, as though nothing had happened, guarding its forgotten secrets beneath the earth. The witness returned to the village and told everyone what he had seen. Before long, every home around Ben Bulben whispered about the fate of the treasure hunter. The frightened young lad listened to every word, unable to forget the terrible warning hidden within the tale. Little by little, he realized that fear itself was not the greatest danger. True danger came from those who believed the ancient world could be challenged without consequence. One cold moonlit night, he gathered every ounce of courage and returned alone to the haunted road. Mist drifted silently between the trees as the familiar figure slowly emerged from the darkness. It was the spirit of his brother, standing exactly where he had appeared years before. This time the young lad did not run. He stood his ground and met the silent gaze of the ghost without lowering his eyes. There was no anger in the spirit's face, only quiet sorrow that slowly softened into peace. As fear left the young man's heart, the ghost dissolved into the pale moonlight until only the whispering wind remained. At sunrise he walked home along the very road he had avoided for 2 long years, never looking back again. Whether he had truly spoken with the dead or whether the ancient land had tested his courage, no living soul could ever know. From that day onward he became a keeper of the old tales, reminding every traveler that courage is stronger than fear and that ancient places deserve respect. And so the haunting of Ben Bulben lived on through generations, not merely as a ghost story, but as a timeless warning that fear may be conquered, while greed and disrespect toward the ancient world are never left unanswered.